What's up, guys? This is Chris, and I've had a lot of people ask me how I do my caricature thing, so I figured I would do a quick little tutorial on how I did them. Not really quick, but well, you'll see how I do it. So basically, what I do, I just try to get the skin as clean as possible, remove freckles and zits, moles, whatever. I know a lot of people like to keep those on there just because it's what makes people who they are. But for these, I've found that it works a lot better if you just remove all of it because it gives it that kind of animated drawing look to it. So yeah, just basically go through, pull everything out. You don't have to get like extreme into there and get everything out, but just the big stuff, and then yeah, you just wanted to make it as clean as possible. So I'll fast forward for the rest of this little section. Okay, so that basically kind of sums it up for the clean up the skin. And then I use portraiture for imaginomics to do the skin smoothing to give it that more of a fakeish look to it. Usually, I create two different layer masks with this and delete whatever I don't want on there. For these, I just do one layer and then I can just delete everything pretty quick. You'll see how I do that in just a second. Computer runs really slow right now because I am recording screen. But as you can see, it just smoothed out my skin. That's what the layer mask looks like, or the skin smoothing mask. So I just basically erase out shirt, hair, anything that I want detail in still. Don't erase that. And you still get to keep the detail in the skin. It just smooths out the tones. It doesn't really delete any of the texture. It just evens out tones and stuff. And I know you can do this with the frequency separation and all that kind of stuff, but this is just a quicker way to do it. Portraiture is right around $200, so frequency separation is a cheaper way. It just takes longer. So so yeah, just slowly mask out stuff that you don't want. Be smooth, and we will move on. And then I do my dodging and burning. Basically, just use the curves tool, select the highlights, and then use it again and select the shadows. And then invert the layer masks for both of those. And then grab a soft, small, round brush with opacity right around 25–30%. And then just start painting white on there to slowly bring out the highlights and shadows and such. So I'll fast forward through this real quick. I just basically go over all the, anywhere I can see highlights on my face, I go over those with the brush to bring out the highlights a little bit more. And then same thing with the shadows. Anywhere there's a shadow, go over it to darken the shadows to give it a really high contrast between the lights and darks on my face. So that's pretty much it. And then what I do is to smooth things out, I just right click on a layer mask or refine layer, feather that just until it starts to blur on the edges. Do that for both the highlights and the shadows. Just enough to where they can meet in the middle, and then it gives a nice a smooth transition between the two. Then just do some basic eye enhancing, dodging and burning the highlights and shadows and midtones in the eyes. Um, Accidentally have my shadow or burn brush set on midtones instead of shadows, so I kind of go back over this again with the brush set as shadows. Wasn't really paying attention when I did that. Just darkening the pupils. I always put a little highlight the underside of the eye or iris, just to give it that extra little pop, which really helps. Make sure that's set as shadows, and then go back over the shadows just to darken those up a bit. Just really create that contrast in the eye and make them pop out. So now go ahead and cut out just the top part of the head. I usually cut it right around mid neck. It's a good breaking point. So copy paste that, and then just Control T to free transform that. I usually enlarge it quite a bit. It does lose a little bit of resolution, but it's not that noticeable. And then to get rid of the blue around my head, you go to Select, Color Range, and then click on the blue. And select as much of that as you can. And hit OK, delete that, and then when you turn your layer underneath it, it's gone. You can't notice it's there. Then right-click, warp, and just bring the neck in. Try to line it up as best you can. It will taper your head a little bit, but I think it adds quite a bit to it, just giving that more cartoonish look. Doing this with girls is a lot harder. You have to go and cut out their hair and bring their hair up and mask their hair in, and it also looks weird where you cut it out. Then you got to go in and create a layer mask on here and just slowly mask out the line where your neck meets. Just trying to give it a smooth, somewhat realistic transition. Merge all those together, and then that's part of my ear from the layer behind it. So I just grab the clone tool and just clone that out. I'm gonna do that on both sides because you can see it on the other side as well. This doesn't always happen, but when it does, you just clone it out. And add some sensor dust in there. So take that out. And for some reason, whenever I'm recording stuff, my patch tool always goes haywire, and I have to kind of reset it. So it looks pretty good right now, but it doesn't really have that cartoonish look to it. So now is when you get to go do the fun stuff. So you just go to the liquify tool, and then this is where you kind of just do your own thing. However you want it to look, just go ahead and do it. Big bulgy eyes really helps with it. Big ears, forehead, playing around with the mouth, just trying to make it look like a cartoon character, pretty much. And really, you can do anything you want. You can go extreme as you want. You can go do it as little as you want. It's up to you. This is where you have to get creative. Big teeth always makes it a little bit easier. I always find that doing this with like actual goofy faces helps a ton. Just gives it that extra little hint of funniness, I guess. You can do it with straight faces or serious faces, but it doesn't quite come out as well as you would like it to. I always try to bring in the neck a little bit, just kind of give it that huge bobblehead look. That's what I do. You don't have to do that. You can make the neck wider if you want. Doesn't matter. Bring up the forehead. Ears kind of got behind on this, so went a little weird right there. Like I said, this no, it doesn't normally happen when I'm not recording stuff. So bring up the ears a little bit more. Okay. You can see the quite a big difference right there. And then I always do this. It adds a bunch of detail. Merge layers into a new group. Set the blending mode to overlay, and then put the top layer in there. Set it to vivid light and invert that. And then go to filter, blur, surface blur, and this basically just adds in a ton of detail. You'll be able to see really what it does here in a second. It just creates extreme contrast between anything and everything. Kind of adds, I don't know, adds a more of a fake look to it as well, because people don't usually have that much texture in their skin. Wait for that to go. And what I do, I like to invert that, or sorry, put a layer mask on that, and then basically just paint in, invert the layer mask, and then paint in wherever you want the extra texture to be. Because I don't want to put it on the hair and the eyes or teeth or anything like that. I just want it on the skin and lips and stuff. You can do it on the hair if you want to. It makes the hair pop out quite a bit, but it also makes it look like it's over sharpened. So, and you can use this as a sharpening tool as well. But it's more of like an HDR-ish type look. Just brings out a lot of texture and detail, and you see stuff that you didn't even think was there. I do pretty much square crops for all of these. I always crop last because I don't know how big I'm going to make the head or anything like that, so it's best to do it last. For this one, I'm going to end up just go ahead and do it a rectangle-ish crop just so I can get a little bit more of my body and head in there. But wait for that to go. And I wanted the background to be a deeper blue, so I just increased the saturation on the blues a little bit. Then in my other ones, this was a quick setup, so I wasn't able to. I didn't have the same setup as I've shot all the other ones with, so all the dark in the background on my other shots is all from just light fall off, and so this one was probably set maybe 2 feet away from the backdrop, so it pretty much lit up the entire thing. So I was gonna go ahead and just make a my own little vignette for it. So and you can do this on yours, or if you have enough space, just set the lights far enough away that you don't have to do this. It's a pain and it doesn't look as good this way. So it's much easier to just do it all right in camera. And these were lit with a 22-inch beauty dish overhead at a 45-degree angle, and then another 22-inch beauty dish, almost in a clamshell position, with both with Alien B 800 in the beauty dish above, and then an Alien B 1600 below that. And then the background is lit with an Alien B 1600 with just a 7-inch reflector and a blue gel on there. Go ahead and sharpen it, and I just do the simple unmask or unsharpened filter. Sorry, and that's pretty much it. And go ahead and save that, and you're done. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. And yeah, hope you guys like that. Take care.